Hey, Simone here, as always, with some ideas and insights, what to pay attention to when you are on that path to getting your business ready for hypergrowth, for scaling, for adding a whole new other level to your business. So all of us have had pretty much the same entrepreneurial journey. At some point, you have a great business idea, you find product market fit, you find the right audience for that product or service, and then business is good for a little while. And then you find out that creating a great product and even finding the customers for that great product is the easiest part of business. What's the hardest is leading a team to greatness, to help you take this business to another level. Because the biggest thing about leading a team is to be able to grow people and to get them and keep them engaged and make sure that they actually show up with their biggest talent and their biggest engagement and their biggest passion, so that you are in alignment with everybody's in alignment with your mission and vision, and everybody is truly focused on helping you take your business to the next level. That is truly what makes the path to greatness for a business. You know, you can have a decent business without all that stuff, but you can't have a great business. So that is really what builds that path from good to great. So what are the things that as leaders we have to pay attention to build business results with the team? So that means setting the team up so that they can drive the most important results for you. Now, you might think this is super self-explanatory, but you would be surprised how many leaders don't pay attention to this. First of all, focus on what matters. You need to be able to get things done to make money. But the real magic is not in doing things, but it's in doing things that matter the most. So you have to define what that is. Those are measured through your KPIs, because that's the other thing. If you don't know what to measure, do you know what's most important? So you have to make sure that you know what you're doing that really truly drives results, that builds your business for the long haul, that gets you the most revenue and also the most profit, right? So doing things that matter the most. And then the next part is building successful leaders. So that means you have to hire and retain the best people who can truly help you growth, help you build opportunities. And part of that is you growing those future leaders. So a lot of what we always talk about are the strategies to help you build those future leaders. So you have to be able to clearly articulate what your vision and your mission are. So your team has to be able to understand, hey, where's this business going? How do I fit into it? What are my opportunities? What are our opportunities as a business? What is my lane? And how do I contribute at a high level to the strategy and the outcome for the business? Which is amazing how many businesses don't do this. So your team, every single person on your team has to understand your mission, as in what you do, your vision, where you're going, the purpose. Hey, why are we there? Why are we doing this? Why do our clients pay us? And then they have to understand the results. These are the results we need to drive so we can thrive as a business, which is the only reason we're here. So they have to really understand, why does this matter? They have to understand the future of the business and why it matters to get there. So that is part of focusing on what matters, making sure that you do the right things and that you build successful leaders. So the next part is, creating successful leaders. Now we have to create that team of leaders and doers. So a lot of what we're talking about right there is making the shift from being a manager to a leader. Because what many of our clients are used to and what we all grow up with is that idea of, you do stuff, and then when you get a team, you delegate, which means you're telling people what to do. And it means you're just basically giving people small tasks, but they don't really understand how to think through the tasks. They don't necessarily understand how they relate to the bigger business outcome and how it impacts everybody and everything around them. So now we want to make sure that the people we develop really come into the team and work in the team as a leader. So when you think about the distinction between manager and leader, it's a manager develops doers, and we need doers. There's nothing wrong with doers. And doers means that they're the people who get stuff done, and but then we want to instill into the doers the idea that everybody is a leader. So even the doers, everybody is a leader, because what does it really mean to lead? It means you are forward thinking, you take a wider view of the situation, and you look constantly for how can I transform the business and the processes that I'm using. So even your lowest level junior employee can do that. They can look at the processes that they're using and always be improving, always be thinking about it, always be strategizing about it. So they need a wider view. They need to be able to look at the situation and the task from a wider lens so that they can approach it from the perspective of how do I get stuff done, but at the same time, how do I make sure that I'm always looking for transforming the business and transforming the processes in the way I do things. So the best group to accomplish this is your team that now has a job that they're doing, but they're doing it with the information that they need to understand the impact of the job. So the manager gives the job to do, which is important, but the leader brings the mission and vision to it that helps people really believe in what they're doing. So that also means they're pulling the best and the brightest into the job, and that helps your team to be bought into what they're doing, which means they're going to do the best job possible. So that, again, that distinction, manager is telling people what to do, developing doers. Yes, we need the doers, but we also want to bring the perspective to the table of how do I get people to be fully bought in, to be fully looking forward, strategizing and implementing at a higher level, and always be looking for how can I do things better. That's part of helping people constantly grow, is also what keeps them from getting on autopilot. When you think about what happens when you do the same thing over and over and over, and a lot of us have team members who might be doing fairly mundane jobs that generally mean you're going to do the same thing over and over. Now you can come at it with that mindset, I'm just going to do the same thing over and over, means you get bored, which means you get stagnant, or you can always be looking for how can I do this better? How can I implement this better? How can I make sure that it helps my fellow human? And that gets to the cultural part, because we always want to make sure that we keep taking care of the culture that we have, because as a CEO, that's part of your job, is being the guardian of your culture. Because culture means you build a structure for your team members to settle into it. You're helping them have an identity within the business. This is how we see ourselves within the business. This is the behavior that we're bringing to the table. This is who we are and what we stand for. And that builds that group identity that really helps people transform how they show up and how they perform. So there's 6 rare principles of leadership that we all need to own to be able to do that. So for one thing, as a leader, when you step into that transformation from manager to leader, first of all, you need to be willing to let people make mistakes, because that's the only way they're going to grow as people and as leaders themselves. So you want to empower them, you want to coach them, you want to help them, you want to give them the information, the context that they need to make really good decisions. and you coach them as much as you can, but at some point you have to let them run, which also means you have to let go how you would do it and let them do it their own way, which means they will make mistakes. So you have to be okay with that if you want to build a team of empowered leaders. Second thing is your culture can't be based on fear, right? So we have to make sure that when we're growing our team members, that we have the trust in them, that we give them trust and the freedom to take risks, which means they will develop their talent. So there can't be any fear behind this, because otherwise they won't try things. So when you trust people to do the best job possible, when you trust them to bring their talent to the table, that means they're going to be creative, they're going to take responsibility, and they are going to start leading. And that's what we really want to enable and empower our team members to do. We want them to step in without fear, take the responsibility, and start leading. And we want them to understand each other, and this is part of this culture, that they're serving each other. A team is a very interrelational construct where we're all impacting each other. A lot of times, teams that don't work, they don't work because people don't understand, the team members don't understand how every single action has an impact on another person on their team, not just on you, not just on the people who are making the money, but also on Mary, who's sitting next to me because I didn't get my thing done. Now she's not getting her thing done. So she's actually being negatively impacted by my not following through. So we have to make sure that they understand that they're also serving each other. They're supporting each other, they're serving each other, they're helping each other grow. So that needs to be part of the culture. We also need to make sure that we set very, very clear expectations, like we said in the beginning. So setting really clear expectations and getting agreements from them, what that means in terms of actions. And that's why we create really clear operational plans that people collaborate on, so that everybody has trust around, this is what we're doing, this is how we're showing up, and this is how it's going to get done, and this is my part in it. This is what creates trust and accountability. And throughout this whole process, we need to make sure that every person on our team feels like they're being treated as humans, as people, that we share values, that we respect each other, that they get to be who they are to be able to achieve their mission. So that's like, they have to be able to bring themselves to work. We want them to bring themselves to work. We want them to bring their talents to the table, their values, and we want to make sure that everybody on the team is aligned on that piece. So we want to make sure that we have alignment around that, because that's what creates a trusted team. So treat them as people and help them develop as humans, where part of your question that you ask when you have your one-on-ones with your team is, how can I help you reach your goals? How can I help you be better? How can I help you break through these barriers? How can I unblock you? That's really where you as a leader come in to support your team member so that they can support you and they can help you take your business to that next level. And then the sixth piece is, you want them to know who you are as a person. They want to know what you stand for, how you support them, why you do what you do, and that they can relate to you as a human. And part of that, you may have heard a lot of discussion around vulnerability. Well, as a leader, when you show up appropriately vulnerable, that means you can reflect on mistakes that you made and how you solved them. You can reflect on situations that didn't go 100%, and you can talk about how you handle it, how you responded. They can relate to you as a human on a much higher level, because they understand that you're not perfect, you don't expect them to be perfect, and you're also willing to be open with them so that they can relate to what's going on and how to solve it. So when we bring in those 6 principles and really come to the team with the expectation that we're going to lead and not manage, that also means, hey David, it's good to see you. That also means that you're asking them to step up and think and come to the table from the perspective of, I'm here to make a difference. This is like kind of the difference between being directive and enrolling people, because that helps people have accountability and be empowered to do the right job. So, when we started talking about this, while being on autopilot, telling people what to do, doing the same thing over and over, not growing our people, it may be costing you millions right now, because that means your team is not showing up at the highest level possible. If they're coming to work, kind of phoning it in on autopilot, always doing the same thing every single day, you're losing their talent, you're losing their engagement, and you're losing a ton of value. So help them bring their brain to work so that they can help you drive much higher levels of outcome. So I hope this is sparking some ideas for you. Make sure that you start implementing on this. What are the 1 to 3 things that you can do this week to help your team show up at a leadership level, that you can help your managers become better leaders, so that your entire team gets up-leveled even this week. So if you want to know more about that, we have a great new training out there. You can go to bulletproofbusinessgrowth.com/leap, bulletproofbusinessgrowth.com/leap, or click the button somewhere under this post and check out the training. It's going to take you into detail into everything that we talked about, and you can even schedule a call with us when that resonates. So have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.